I'm going to tell you about a man named Daniel Rivera. He's 32 years old, works as a project manager at a mid-sized tech company, and is the kind of person who notices the small details others overlook. The way the coffee swirls in a cup, the rhythm of typing keys, the sound of rain on a window. He's deliberate, cautious, and quietly stubborn. The kind of man who believes that routines aren't just habits, they're anchors. Daniel lives in a modest apartment in Portland, Oregon. The city hums with a steady rhythm. Streetcars rolling, coffee shops brewing, rain pattering against the sidewalks. It's 2025, and the air still carries a chill even in late spring, the kind that creeps through jackets and leaves you wishing you'd chosen another route home. Most mornings, Daniel wakes before dawn. Not because he's ambitious, though he is, but because his body still expects a life it no longer fully has. Before his accident, he was fast. He ran. He raced. He lived in a world measured by seconds and inches, a world where the finish line was sacred and victory had a tangible taste. Then came the crash. It was a normal spring morning. Daniel had laced up his running shoes, left first, always left first, a ritual he picked up in high school. The air smelled like rain and wet asphalt. The track glistened under a thin sheen of water. And he ran, feeling his body coil and release with the familiar rhythm. But a driver mistook the access road for a parking route. Tires screeched, glass shattered, the world folded. When Daniel woke in the hospital, life had been rewritten. He had lost his left leg. Recovery taught him a new language, pain as a verb, hope measured in inches and increments. Nurses called him champ and hero, but Daniel didn't feel heroic. He felt incomplete. The prosthetic became a part of him, a foreign limb he needed to convince to obey, but no magic ritual could restore the man he was before. For months, he circled through routine, work, groceries, small errands. The apartment was quiet except for the humming refrigerator and the occasional drip of rain on the window. Daniel's mornings began with rituals he clung to like life rafts. Tying his left shoe first, touching the notch below his knee where the prosthetic attached, arranging his sneakers by the door. These routines gave him a sense of control in a world that had taken everything from him. But routine isn't the same as living. One Tuesday, Daniel spilled coffee on the right shoe. An ordinary mistake, yet it felt catastrophic. He froze, panic surging through him like electricity. A co-worker, Claire, knelt to help, her voice soft and careful. "It's fine," she said. But Daniel felt the sting of exposure, the weight of his own limitations. He wiped the coffee, trying to ignore the phantom pain in his absent leg, the reminder that the world no longer made sense the way it once had. Weeks later, his old coach, Mark, called. "Hey, kid," Mark said, gravelly and urgent, the voice of someone who treated the body like a finely tuned machine. "We're having a reunion Saturday. Old team, barbecue, stories, lies. You should come." Daniel hesitated. The track, the field, the finish line, they were memories layered with grief. But something inside him, buried under the routines and rituals, flickered. He said yes, not because he wanted to prove anything. Not yet. But maybe because he needed to remember that the world, even after tragedy, could still make space for him. Saturday came, gray and wet, the kind of day that felt like the sky was holding its breath. Daniel arrived early, telling himself he was just there to scout a site for a charity 5K his company was hosting. But when he stepped onto the track, the rubber lanes glistened like glass, reflecting puddles and sky, and the memories came rushing back. Fingers splayed on starting blocks, hips high, lungs burning, the old excitement, the old fear, both alive at once. He saw Claire, his high school sweetheart, not the co-worker, but the girl he once kissed behind the bleachers. She held a toddler now, her laughter soft but sharp against the damp air. "I thought that was you," she said, glancing down at his prosthetic leg with polite curiosity. "You look good," she added, almost apologetically. Daniel smiled, the words catching somewhere between memory and present. "Everything anyone says is wrong," he said. "You might as well be kindly wrong." They watched freshmen line up at the blocks, nervous energy crackling around them. Daniel didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't need to. For the first time, he realized that the race wasn't about proving speed or strength. It was about choice. Later, he helped organize the charity 5K, naming it Left, Right, Forward. The event was chaotic, vibrant, full of small children sprinting in sun-flecked lanes and adults jogging with the kind of grim determination that only comes from chasing personal goals. Daniel arrived early on test day. No one was there yet. He walked the curve of the track, his prosthetic leg unfamiliar, yet willing. "I," the body said. "I," Daniel answered. And he ran, not far, not fast, but deliberately. The blade clicked with each heartbeat, phantom itches sparking, socket pressing against his skin. The first curve arrived like a question, and he leaned into it, trusting the body that had been reshaped by loss. He stopped not because he was forced to, but because he chose to. That choice, that simple act, was victory enough. From then on, Daniel's morning shifted. Sometimes he tied his left shoe first, sometimes the right. Rituals no longer dictated his life. The world wasn't a punishment, nor was it a test. It was simply a place that could still make room for him. At the charity 5K, when asked to speak, Daniel kept it simple. "I used to be fast. Then I wasn't. Today, I'm trying to be something else." The crowd clapped. Children darted like comets. Adults pushed themselves. And for a moment, Daniel felt the quiet pulse of life continuing around him. Not in spite of his loss, but alongside it. Later, he walked the lanes alone. A puddle reflected the sky. For a heartbeat, he saw the boy he once was. Hungry, fast, invincible. Then the reflection rippled. The boy was gone. In his place was Daniel. One flesh, one carbon. Whole enough. He called his mother that evening. "People finished," he said. "They were happy. They'll be sore tomorrow." "And you?" she asked. "I stood up," he replied. Back at his apartment, he set his shoes side by the door, left and right, equal at last. In the mirror, he saw the man who carried him now. Not the boy, not the hero, a work in progress. Outside, rain began again. He tied his shoes without looking, sometimes left first, sometimes right, and stepped into a world that refused to punish or bless him. It simply existed, and that, he realized, was enough. The moral is clear. Life will change, often in ways we cannot control. Loss, pain, and routine will test us. But we regain agency not by returning to what was lost, but by choosing how to move forward, step by step, stride by stride. Resilience isn't the same as perfection. It's about accepting the body, the circumstances, and yourself, and continuing anyway. Daniel's story is a reminder that choice is powerful, that healing doesn't erase loss. That courage isn't always loud. It's often quiet, private, and stubborn. So, take a moment to think about your own race. What small steps can you take today, not because they fix everything, but because they matter to you? And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to click subscribe to get new videos, and don't miss our story.